Right. I hope everybody's doing well. As I said, it's a happy day regardless
Hi,
of
Pamela.
whatever you're going on in life. No one is exempt from challenges. You have to have an attitude that it is a happy day regardless.
Yeah.
I'm excited about today. I know some a lot of people probably enjoying their 4th of July, but we want to continue on this topic of jealousy. What we'll finish what we can. If not, then Pamela wrap everything wrap everything up. Excuse me. I want to welcome the Authentic Talk family and also those who are visitors. I encourage you to bring other people in to join in because we're trying to expand this family. Um, Pamela is out for today. She had a medical procedure on yesterday, but she is doing all is well. Her body's healing up beautifully. Thank God for that. I was able to be with her majority of yesterday along with Marie. And so, but she is on, so you can probably hear some in the chat box, some comments that she may have. And that's a beautiful thing that we work as a team. And I love that. That's what makes the podcast stronger. But who will be sitting in her behalf today is Coach, or we call Minister Elbert Walk, which is my cousin by marriage. Okay.
What's up, cuz? What's up?
And so cousin by marriage, been knowing him since I was 15 in college. It's a whole history about that, but his conversation is authentic and it's real, and also he's humorous. So you're going to get a combination of everything. He can turn around and go deep on you in a moment. Really, Sally, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. Welcome to you. And let's get started. We open our mouth, wisdom will flow.
Yeah.
Before I even get started, I want to advertise Coach Watkins, Elbert Watkins, which is called Coach's Corner. It's a 30-day spiritual playbook. He made it for the coach and the athletes, but anybody can enjoy this because it's real life situations. Then he take the word and break it down. So he give you a scenario of natural, spiritual, how to solve those natural dilemmas or situations that you may have. You can buy it on Amazon or wherever books may be sold. It is an excellent book. I had the opportunity to forward of the book, and I'm always grateful for that. I'm still honored to do that, but I want you to purchase this book. Let's get started. Last week, we've been talking about jealousy, and this week we're talking about jealousy, but let me just kind of do a recap, if you don't mind. And what we talked about on last week, we defined jealousy, Albert, and we said in Authentic Talk family, and he said it's an intense emotion that is activated when one mentally perceive that he or she is being neglected, overlooked, or acknowledged, encouraged, respect, love, opportunity. They're missing out on all those things, in other words, and therefore causing a person to constantly be in a comparison mode. Then we talked about jealousy stems from fear and insecurity and low self-worth. And so then jealousy is a byproduct of thoughts. And your thoughts is a byproduct of the words that words produce thoughts. Thoughts affect the emotions. Emotions trigger the feelings, and the feelings dictate to the behavior. And then we said envy is an action. I like what Pamela said last week. She said, Albert and the Authentic Talk family, she said jealousy is a thought, suspicion, where envy is is an actual action. And I really did like that. That was very profound for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pamela and I discussed the timeline. How could what could have possibly took root in our lives during childhood, because jealousy just doesn't occur all of a sudden. It was a seed that was planted somewhere basically in childhood, and it kept being cultivated rather than massaging that jealousy out and replacing it with the right emotion. And so when you keep watering jealousy, then it'll grow into this massive tree that's hard to cut down, and it seems like it consumes every area of your life. Then finally, we talked about the different types of jealousies. There's a family jealousy we talked about. There's rational jealousy, pathological jealousy and workplace jealousy, which we're going to talk about today. So I recommend those who are viewing now and those who will be watching thereafter, go to my profile, Cheryl_Masterpiece Women, and watch the whole podcast of last week, which was really good. I also want to welcome our Facebook family. And we were really grateful to have you on, and also those on YouTube. So we are grateful for that. So let's get started, because we're going to do a twist on everybody. So everybody better hang tight. We're going to do a twist. But I want to talk about, let's talk about jealousy in the workplace. Now, I had Elbert to come on here simply because it's good that Pamela and I speak, but I always need a man's perspective on anything, on different things, because I just don't want to leave the men out, because emotions impact the genders differently. Okay. And so, Elbert, I want to ask you a question. What have you seen from your personal experience, or have you heard about men being jealous in the workplace? What some signs and things that you have seen? I see you laughing, but break that down.
But so I teach special ed in high school, and so with my job, special ed and coaching, my I don't have a class like a lot of the other teachers. So I kind of have a little freedom. I could roam around campus. When I don't have a class, I can go check on students. So I might be checking on, a special ed student over here. Then you might see me across campus checking on another student. And so it was funny because sometimes I would period sub, what we call period sub, and I period sub with the PE teachers. So two of my coworkers who were PE teachers, they always would say, "Man, what do you do? I just see you all over the place, and you over here and you over there." And their envy of my freedom to be able to roam and still get my job done. So I always, and I told them, we laughed about it. And I told them, I said, when you were in school and you were in college, you had a choice. You chose to pick PE. So now you stuck out in the field. You stuck in the field with 70 kids. And I chose to do special ed, where I have a caseload and my kids are scattered all across campus. And so I noticed that, but I felt, Cheryl, I felt the jealousy and the envy. And so, of course, me being a minister, I show love and I made a joke about it, but I really, really felt it. I could feel that they were really, really jealous of me personally, and me and my freedom to be able to do my job and have the freedom. So I think with men, they joked about it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes men will try to hide it with comedy. Sometimes men are not as emotional as women are. So sometimes it'll be suppressed, and then it can come out later in a situation where it'll be kind of reviewed as anger. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, why is he mad at me? You know what I'm saying? And so definitely, I've seen it in the workplace.
Do you agree that men, when they are jealous towards other men, they can be more harsh? It could be more of in some situation, they can be so strong and harsh. They can, yeah, that's about the best way. They could just be so vindictive when
Well,
they are jealous. Hey, Brenda Cooper, how you doing?
I don't know. I haven't really with me. I haven't seen the vindictiveness. You will see the what we call it the backstabbing. You know what I mean? You may find out later that, oh, this guy said this about you behind your back. You know what I mean? But they're not showing they don't want to show their trump card, that, you know what I mean, that they're jealous of you, because it's an inferior thing and it's an insecurity thing. If I show you as a man that I'm jealous of you, then I'm already telling you that you're better than me. You know what I'm saying? And so they won't really let that person know right up front that they're jealous. They'll just do stuff behind their back,
So,
and you'll hear stuff later on.
so they show it through their actions.
They show it through their actions. Yes.
Because
Mhm.
I once heard a story about how these men's were, so it was a group of men's that were take an exam. I never forget my cousin told me about this, and it was going taking this course, and then it elevate them to a higher level in administration, and they never told my cousin whatsoever. And so because they were already jealous of his demeanor, his charismatic, how he
Mhm.
carried himself. And once he had found out, he didn't tell anybody. He took the course on his own because they had their own study groups and stuff like that. He took the
Mhm.
course on his own and excelled high. And then when they had a meeting and they was congratulating everyone, they said the person who got the highest score, or excel the highest in these courses or whatever, was whatever my cousin name was. And the people were so shocked because they were trying to keep it a secret. And so men can be
Mhm.
jealous, like you said. They try to hide things. They can they
Yes.
can they
Mhm.
they can they can smile in your face, but deep
Yeah.
inside, their
Mhm.
insecurity, their low self-esteem, their low self-worth, all that is making jealousy to feel comfortable in order to operate in their lives.
Yes, and you say that smile on your face. I heard that song that you was playing
Uh-huh.
when you on the commercial, and I said
Uh-huh.
that is so true. They smile in your face, but all the time they want to take your place. And then
Mm,
it goes on to say them backstabbers, and so
mhm,
definitely men will do that. They will smile. You would never know. You know what I mean? Until
mhm,
you maybe you might unless you kind of sense it, you know what I'm saying? Like with
mhm,
my two coworkers, I could sense it, I could feel it, but a lot of times you won't know. They
mhm.
will hide it. They will definitely hide it.
Well,
Yes.
let's go in. Let's just go right on in. Let's talk about a let's do an example of let's go biblically and do the one about King Saul and David, and how jealousy consumed King Saul so
Mhm.
much that eventually he ended up dying. But
Yes.
I like to say this, and I thought about it, or I heard someone say,
Mhm.
jealousy that is not tame, jealousy is not dominant, that is tame or eradicated. If it start over consuming you, it can drive you insane. It really can.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yes, no doubt. And so Saul, Saul was the king, and David was also he was a warrior. And
Hmm.
so, back in those days, a lot of times when they would go out to battle, the king would have his group, and then the warriors would have their group. And so when they came back from this particular war, King Saul, he was excited about what he had done, but they wasn't recognizing him. They
Hmm.
were recognizing David because David had killed 10 times, more men than he did. So people begin to see David's worth, and they begin to see that David was a better warrior. And so they were also thinking of, they were already lining him up to be the next king. And so Saul's anger, his anger, I think, of him not getting recognition, because think about it, he's the king, so everybody's supposed to bow down to him, they're supposed to respect him. But for him to hear these people lifting up David, he
Hmm.
automatically fell into that spirit of jealousy.
Hmm.
Automatically,
And
yeah.
it was said, and if I can read this, it says, as they were coming home, when David returned from killing the Philistine, the women came out of the Israelites' town singing and dancing, which he was talking about, to meet King Saul,
Hmm.
a song of joy, instruments of music. And the women responded as they laugh and saying, Saul has slain his 1,000 and David his 10,000.
Hmm.
Saul was
Yes.
angry, for the saying displeased him, and he said, they have ascribed to David 10,000, but to me they have ascribed only 1,000. What more can he have but the kingdom? Isn't that deep?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yes.
And it said,
Hmm.
Saul jealousy eyed David from that day. So that lets me
Hmm.
know that jealousy can keep your mind on that one person all day long, all week long.
Oh, yes.
When you're
Hmm.
jealous of a person, you are constantly consumed about that person, every actions, what everything is going on. And so what happened is, like we said, the jealousy as a word, because those women said
Right.
that David
Hmm.
was better. Then it became a thought. So he had pictures in his mind that David was taking over the kingdom. Am I about right, Albert? And
Yes, you're
and
correct.
then it affected his okay, and it affected his emotions, because the emotions or feelings on the inside either caused by pain or pleasure to lead you in a certain direction. And then it goes through the feelings, and then it goes through the behavior. Pamela says
Yes, Pamela. Yes.
Saul was
He
like,
said, "How dare you take my spotlight?"
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. Hmm.
How dare you take my spotlight? And jealousy is just that. Is that
Hmm.
you are being seen more than I am. But that came from last week when Ella and Pam and I was talking about
Hmm.
everybody on this earth have a sense of want to feel important.
Yes.
And some people
Yes.
are so consumed with it that
Hmm.
they don't feel that they're the only one that is important, and they don't want to share the platform with anyone else.
With anyone else. Yes. And so men are really, I would say men probably fall into that even more because, as by nature, we're competitive. You know what I mean? We're brought up to be competitive.
Mhm.
Whether it's sports or whatever. We're brought up to be conquerors. You got to conquer. You got to be the top. And so we are programmed as young men. That winning in competition is being the best. And
Mhm.
so I think, like you said, there's enough room for all of us to be the best. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But a lot of times people feel like if someone's better than me, then like Pamela said, oh, you stealing my shine. You taking my shine from me. You taking the spotlight from me. And then what happens, like you said too, they get jealous, or they get so jealous with this one person, not realizing now that person is controlling them because their mind is always on what this person is doing.
Mm, that's deep right there. So they are, so in other words,
Mhm.
that person that person is dictating their life, and they don't even know it.
Yes, and they don't even realize it.
All
Yes.
all because they allow their insecurities, they allow their
Hmm.
low self-worth, they allow their fear, they allow the over stimulation of being important to consume them so much that intensify that they birth jealousy into their lives, into their
Yes.
thing.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
and so here's another thing that I want to ask you. Is that a man consumed with jealousy as it relates to relationships. Okay, now let's go.
Woo-wee. You want to go there, huh?
Let
Okay.
because a lot of times this authentic talk family, we not may not finish all this, and what we don't finish, Pam and I
Mhm.
finish when we return, when she finished relaxing from her resting from her healing, and then I have to go and do a conference on next week.
Mhm.
But Albert, I would just want to talk about, so we got that workplace, so we covered that one,
Yes, we
in a jail.
covered that. Yes.
A man consumed with jealousy as it relates to relationship, single or married. And I know Pam and I talked about it last week, and she wanted to know what caused a man to become so jealous of his girlfriend or his wife to the point
Mhm.
that he wants to, or he has killed her. And how many times have we heard in the news? That's a big thing you hear in the news.
Right.
How
Hmm.
men have killed the wife and have killed the children. And,
Yes.
I want to talk about that. And I had talked to Gail, and I want to say this before we go into the origin, but she said this: men are possessive by nature. And as a result,
Yes.
they do not
Hmm.
want to give up their possessions. And
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
because a relationship is over physically, it does not mean that it is has ended mentally. And I thought that was for a man. And so in other words, they harbor. She said they harbor possessive
Hmm.
feelings, even though they are separated from that person. And
Mm.
that I thought that was so profound, that mental possession that a person have, that they're unwilling to share. Like they say, if I can't have you, then nobody else will.
And
Uh,
nobody else can have you. Yes,
mhm,
definitely sounds like a man who's insecure,
mhm,
who has low self-esteem,
mhm,
and so we were talking earlier. They'll do a lot of things to win that person, and
mhm,
then once they win that person, they feel like they don't want to share that person
mhm,
with anyone else. and a lot of that could come from abandonment when they were young as a child,
Mm-hmm.
some disappointments, things that happen in their past that
Mm-hmm.
makes them feel like, I gotta hold on to this woman because
Mm-hmm.
like you're mine, you know what I mean, and I can't share you with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then you even I saw I did a video with my students one time about friendship, and it was saying, if you a true friend don't mind sharing you with others. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? They're not possessive. They're not hovering over you all the time, and they don't feel threatened by other relationships that
Mm-hmm.
you have. But if you have somebody who's always threatened about you talking to your friends, or you being with your friends, or or just really, really just like possessive, then a lot of times this their own it's on there because they have their own insecurities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You
Hmm.
let's go let's go back for a moment, okay? And let's talk about the point of origin, the childhood. And I and people I don't know if people really get it or not, because a lot of things that have happened in our lives or what cause our social patterns, our mental patterns, because I believe that you have mental movies. That's the way that
Hmm.
your belief system was shaped by what you past experience, repetition information, what you saw your parents do, or the words they put in your ear gate. So what you saw in your eye gate, ear gate, and the words that came out of their mouth. Past experience, I said repetition information, all that has a very great impact on establishing, setting that foundation, and it can roll into adulthood, may it be functional
Yes.
or dysfunctional. So
Hmm.
what I want to say is, I was reading this article. God, what was her name? But she was a licensed family marriage therapist, and she said, don't have it right now, but she was just saying how that there's that vulnerable stage. We say from birth to 5. Just even
Hmm.
childhood, there's that vulnerable stage of life, and if it's not properly nourished, then
Yes. Hmm.
if it's not properly nourished, then it can cause habits, it can cause thoughts, it can cause social behaviors, it can cause dysfunctional relationships. How do you interact with people? The people that you bring into your life. See, it starts at a young
It
age.
starts at a young
Huh?
age.
And
Yes,
and
that's for
so
sure.
we even talked about the Maslow hierarchy of need. I had you look at that, and it's like a pyramid, and we that
Yes.
and basically what he was saying, that the Maslow heart give you a better understanding for the motives for a human's behavior. It gives you a better understanding of the motives of a person's behavior. And
Hmm.
and I think it was saying you have the lowest part of the pyramid is what, psychological need. Am I about right, Albert? And then you have
The needs, yes. The top part was the what they
which
call the growth. The
uh
growth, the are the being needs.
the
Yeah,
self.
which he called it B needs, and so
Okay.
basically he called it the growth. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the
So
growth are being needs, and then the lower ones were, like you said, deficiency needs.
okay, so good. I like that. So you have the psychological need is the bottom
Hmm.
one. Then on top of that is safety. The next one is love and belonging. The other one is self-esteem, and the other
Yes.
self-actualization. Excuse me. And what
Hmm.
he was saying, and what I like what he said is the failure to meet these needs from various stages of the hierarchy could possibly call psychological illness, mental health
Hmm.
illness. And I thought about that. If you don't meet those needs at a young age, and they never have been met, throughout the consistency of childhood, it can cause these things to take place. Why is a person narcissistic? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
You think about all that, and it all it all comes from the not setting the right foundation. And in addition to that, Elba, I think Marissa,
Hmm.
what, about a month ago, she talked about the constitution of the mind, modifying the mind.
The
And
mind,
if you
modifying the mind. Yes.
exactly, and if your parents did not give you a solid belief system because they didn't have a solid belief system, that also can cause interference
Hmm.
in a child's growing up, developing,
Yes.
he or she can properly engage in society. Is that about right?
Yes. No, that sounds great. That is so true. You know, the mind, and then like things that we were taught, as kids, and things that we went through as kids. Some of it we have to be able, when we get a certain age, distinguish. Is that good? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I had I had posted something this morning about our mouth, what we say, of course, our thoughts, it says, so if a man thinketh, so is he. And
Mhm.
then, uh, what my post was, before we say a word or before we respond to anything, we want to evaluate, is this going to bring peace or is this going to bring war? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so
Mhm.
it's the same thing with those behaviors. When you have them, you have to understand that, okay, this is not a good behavior. This is not conducive for a relationship, or this is not conducive for for me growing. Then you have to learn how to get help in that area.
Mhm. So it's still the byproduct. Is it you have to have the will to want to change. That's the bottom line. You have to have the will to want to change and address the
Yes,
yeah.
yes, most definitely, yes.
But I
Hmm.
thought that was so important. What they were saying is that what was the man vulnerable? Because we're talking about men, and the man
Right.
consumed with jealousy. Was the man vulnerable stages of life properly nourished? That is so important.
Hmm. Yes.
That takes place, and not only the Maslow hierarchy of need, but we talked about Eric Erickson, and he has those the seven. What? How many stages he have?
He
He got
said it's signs of unhealthy jealousy.
no. He talked about
Yeah.
of it. He had like there's trust versus mistrust, and
Hmm.
guilt. We talk about the initiative versus guilt. That's like from preschool years to 3 years, 5 year. Industrial versus superiority. That's middle school from 6 to
Mm,
identity versus confusion. That's teenage years from 12 to 16. And right here,
that's good.
intimacy versus isolation. And Pamela had talked
Hmm.
about that, and kind of a light went off on us
Yeah.
thinking about this.
Hmm.
Is that yeah, and what he believes is that if you don't finish one stage, and you don't the trial or the issue of that stage, okay, you have trust,
Hmm.
then the trial or the dilemma might be mistrust, and if you don't overcome that, if that's not properly
Yes.
addressed, then you're stuck in that stage, okay? And a
That's
lot of
good. That's
people,
good. That's
isn't
good.
isn't that good? And
That's good.
a lot of people are men are stuck somewhere in these different stages, and when it comes to intimacy versus isolation, then they really don't know how to be intimate,
Mm,
and
yes.
they really don't know how to provide the love, and
Hmm.
that's why I think what we tell a lot of women is that the bottom line is this: when it comes to like women getting killed or harmed or whatever, you have to really know who you're with. You really
Yes.
is that about right? You really have.
Well, because in a relationship, there's gonna be signs, before. I mean, I guarantee you, the women who was in those relationships with these men, and these men were abusive, I
Mhm,
guarantee you there were signs way before he got to the point where he got so angry that he did bodily harm. You know
mhm,
what I mean? So you have to look for the signs in the beginning, because there will definitely be signs and
mhm,
warnings. Uh,
mhm.
uh, uh, the Bible always said that warning comes before destruction. So there are definitely warnings that you have to look for.
Well, what would cause a woman to overlook signs?
So, a lot of things, a lot of things. Sometimes they're insecure themselves, and they don't feel like, oh, well, I better hold on to this man because I don't want to lose him. I don't want to be by myself. The fear of being alone. Then there's fear again. We talked about fear before. They don't want to be alone, or they feel, or he does certain things that make them feel good. So they overlook the bad things.
Mhm,
Overlook the negative things. I'm just gonna hold on to, how he talked to me when we first met, and
mhm,
how he wined and dined me. But then he ain't wined and dined you in years, and you still with him. Right? You know what I mean?
uh,
So those are things that women stay in relationships like that. Or like you said about the Erickson, maybe they never graduated from one area, one phase in their life. They never graduated
Mm-hmm.
from that phase, and they're stuck in that place.
Mm-hmm. So they're stuck. So what you're saying, the Erickson stage, is that if they don't pass that stage, they're stuck in that stage. But even though these other stages are being introduced to them, they're not properly addressing that next phase because they haven't taken care of
Yes,
the first one.
haven't taken care of the first one, and
Uh,
then their self worth. They don't think they're worth. Finding a man that will really treat them better.
mm-hmm.
There's other things that keep them in a bad relationship. Uh, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to get out of it.
And then I saw here the signs of unhealthy jealousy.
Mhm.
Guys might want to take this down. It says one is checking your spouse phone or your emails without permission. Insult
Hey,
spouse.
look, you start digging for stuff, you gonna find something. You better leave that alone. Stay out of
Leave it
there.
alone.
Yeah.
Assume that your spouse is not attracted to you. Grilling
Hmm.
That is grilling your spouse on their whereabouts throughout the day and accusing your
Hmm.
spouse of lying without evidence. And
Hmm.
those are all unhealthy
Yep.
signs of jealousy. And many times,
Right.
and I think what you're saying about the sign, if this is taking place before you get married, I don't know why we're going there, before you get
Yes.
married, then that
Hmm.
is a clear sign that that person is not for you.
Hmm. Right. And then you said another one that you had a bullet point was insulting your spouse,
Hmm.
especially insulting your spouse in front of other people. That's very unhealthy. You know what I mean? Very
Hmm.
unhealthy. But I think the insulting, the grilling, what happens is the person that's doing that, they are their confidence is low, so they want to keep that other person in that place where their confidence is low as well.
You know what? I was just talking on Marie Pam and I were talking to Marie,
Hmm.
and they were talking how a person who is jealous of you and they don't treat you right or whatever, they'll they'll try to lower you down through words, insults, to bring you down to the level that they're comfortable with you to
Hmm.
interact with you.
Right. You
Uh-huh.
guys talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I remember that they want to bring you down to their level,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to keep you in where they feel comfortable. Having you in that space.
Well, here then is it fair to say if jealousy is not, somebody said belittle you? Yes, Pamela.
Belittle you. Yes.
Is it fair? And somebody typed this in: jealousy, if not addressed in a relationship, jealousy will try to tame you.
Oh yes.
Jealousy,
Control.
jealousy will try to
Hmm.
tame you. I mean,
Hmm.
it'll dictate, and it's already in this person's mind. They're already in their reality, and and we're talking about men, and the man is becoming more dominant of the woman. The anger,
Hmm.
so forth.
Hmm.
He'll try to tame her. Oh, this is good. He'll try to
Hmm.
tame her based on the reality that has been developed up in his mind as a byproduct of being jealous.
Hmm. Right, because if I can control you, if I can tell you you're not attractive, if I can tell you you're no good, and if I can keep you feeling bad about yourself, then
Mm,
there's no chance that you're gonna leave me
mm,
because you're not gonna be confident to go around other people. You know what I'm saying? And then
mhm,
when someone else comes along and tells you good things about yourself, a lot of times they don't believe it. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying?
mhm,
Because they were
mhm.
in this other broken relationship, and then they don't believe. Oh no, you just saying that. I heard that before. And I saw something on Facebook about relationships, and someone had mentioned that don't take your past relationship over to your new relationship and punish that person. You know what I'm saying? One guy said he said, yeah, I'm getting punished for what the other guy did. Now I know we're not talking about women today, but anyway, that made me think about the jealousy thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Uh-huh. So jealousy is so, and I like what Pam said, jealousy will control a person to make them feel like that this person will not leave me, you know. So it's a controlling factor.
Hmm.
And that's why they said it's an intense emotion because power and control, yes, crushing what is that? Accumulate.
Someone said power and control. Yes. Uh
Uh,
huh.
yes,
That's very good. Yes. Yes.
very important. And I think.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Control the self esteem
Uh-huh.
and control the person.
Mhm.
Yes,
So
definitely.
are we saying this is jealousy in your mind for a man is more of a controlling power that they can have over the other person?
Hmm. Yes,
That's what I'm
that's
getting.
it.
That
No,
that that
that is it. Hey, you nailed it right there. That is
that
it. It's
that's
more of control
uh-huh.
than, yep. Hmm.
So if I'm jealous and it's control, that means, and then you're in a relationship, I possess you, I own you, I control,
Hmm.
and therefore you cannot leave get out of my you're under my in my confinements, you're in my domain,
Yes. There's
and
no freedom.
there's
Yeah,
no
there's no
freedom.
freedom.
Hmm.
Hmm.
There's no freedom whatsoever. And so the person, in other words, the person that is jealous, the man, the warden
Hmm.
is jealousy in his mind.
Hmm.
And then,
Hmm.
and because of the byproduct of jealousy, his actions, the words he say, then he becomes the warden under that person. So that person is held captive to all that. See how all that takes place, and then
Yes.
in that, and then that what happened is, I think, and what I was listening to is that the man becomes so consumed with anger, especially if the woman leaves him because it's safer for her or whatever. The man has created this
Right.
reality,
Oh.
he has created a reality in his
Hmm.
mind. He turned into rage, and this reality,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
that's what happened to a lot of women who get killed or whatever the case may be, is that he is become so consumed with jealousy because jealousy is an intense, it's a monster, and he's become so
Yes.
consumed with this of how did
Hmm.
she leave me? How she's saying that I can't possess her anymore, and so therefore it leads to one thing to another. Eventually, that person get harmed. Now,
Yes.
always said is that there are some people. Let's say when a man has low self esteem, he questioned why does the woman want them. He doesn't accept himself, so they should accept him, and that is so true.
Hmm. That
That
is
is so
true. That's
so
good.
true.
Yes. Hmm.
And so that's it right there. Is that
Hmm.
when you possess something, you control, you don't want to share.
You don't
You,
want to share.
uh-huh,
No. Mm-mm.
uh-huh. And then I think, if can I go there, Albert?
Hmm.
And I go this, when you are not married and have an intimacy with someone, and they already have that strong jealousy right there, then now
Hmm.
there's that soul ties that's
That
taken.
soul tie, that emotional.
uh,
Yeah. Hmm.
Emotional, soul tie, and that mental, which is really designed for marriage, but that soul ties take place. And what happened is when a person is very jealous or whatever, it's hard for them to pull away from you because they
Hmm.
have become part of you, if that makes sense.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, that's the possession part right there. If
mm-hmm,
you gave me the goods, or we was intimate, and we spending time together. Now, okay, then I don't want to share that. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
Because that is supposed to be a married thing. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be when you get married. You don't share. Your spouse. In that area, you don't share. And so when they do it out of marriage, they automatically start to practice the role of
mm-hmm,
being married,
mm-hmm,
and so they have that possession. You're mine, you belong to me. And
mm-hmm.
then that's when jealousy can come in. Most definitely, jealousy will come in when that person is not acting the way you think they should act.
Mhm, mhm. You know what I do wanna talk about, and if we cover it, we cover, well, let me, but how does the survival of the fittest? I always say that men's is that how does that fit in with
Mhm.
jealousy? Break that down. Gwen
Well,
said,
men.
Let me say this real quick. Insecurities in person can cause
Hmm.
to be possessive of others. Yes, it is insecure because they, you know what? Why stoneth? Because they want something that they can say that is theirs. They can insecurities make sometimes make you feel that you're unable to be confident in certain areas. So when you have
Hmm.
and you have this person, you're going to hold on to that person, even though you don't treat that person right. You'll hold on to that person so tight because you're so insecure in other areas that you don't feel that you are adequate enough, if that makes sense. But Elbert, let's talk about the
That
men.
makes a lot of
Survival
sense.
of- let's talk about the survival of the fittest.
Hmm. So men are programmed, and men are taught at a young age. Men don't cry, be tough, suck it up. You know what I mean? In sports, we were taught suck it up. Why you crying? You know what I mean? Get back in there. You tough, be tough. You know what I mean? Uh, uh,
Hmm.
uh, and so as men, we already are conditioned to be conquerors. You know what I mean? We're conditioned to be warriors. We're conditioned to battle. And so
Hmm.
when you say about the last man standing, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
All that plays into society and what society says about a man. The man has to be, the strong person, and the man can't be weak. And then even growing up, in high school, I went to a Catholic school. It was all boys, and all we did was talk about each other all day. And if you didn't man up to that. You know what I mean? If you weren't able to handle that, you were considered less than a man.
Hmm.
So we're conditioned to be that. And so when we feel like we're losing, you know what I mean? We feel like we're losing. It's harder for us to accept
Mm,
losing,
mm.
because of that.
Somebody type that in. So men to accept losing, for men to lose, it's hard for them to accept.
It's hard for men to accept losing.
It
Yeah,
is
because
hard
we're
for.
so competitive.
Mhm,
Hmm.
mhm. And that can play right into a relationship also, am I correct?
Right. Yeah. Because if you in a relationship with a female, and she don't want to be with you, you feel like you're losing, and so that's why those guys get so obsessed. And you got to come back. I want you back. I won't do it again or whatever. Because they feel like it's not that they really want to be with her. They don't want to lose.
Ooh.
Because if
Good.
they have her, they feel like they winning. Because my job is to conquer. My job is to like we joke about that. Growing up, we
Mm,
go out to the little dance or whatever. Man, how many numbers you get, man? And at the end of the day, we would compare. It was a comparison thing. Oh, I got three numbers. Oh, I
mhm,
got two numbers. Whatever.
mhm.
So as men, we compete. And so if a man is in a relationship with a female and he loses her, now he feels inferior, and he feels like he's not winning.
Well then let's go ahead. Then like you said, okay, he's not winning, but he can be. And I'm right there with Pam. He can be no good. He's seeing other women on top of that. She got
Hmm.
and she
Hmm.
got out, but
Right.
don't
Hmm.
want, but he don't want no one else to have her.
Exactly.
Well,
Right.
then that's a byproduct of self-centeredness.
Yes.
So
Oh
so
yeah.
watch
Hmm.
this. A person that is jealous is self-centered. Somebody need to type that in. Ding.
Oh, no doubt. Yes.
Per,
No doubt. Yes. Yes.
a person who
Hmm.
is jealous
Hmm.
is self-centered. It's all
Yeah,
about.
because if you're jealous, yeah, if you're
Mm,
jealous, it's like exactly, yeah, it's all about me. Of
mhm,
how I feel,
mhm,
of I didn't get what I want, or
mhm,
why they got this, or
mhm,
and I was reading a little bit about jealousy and envy and how they both go
mhm,
hand in hand. You can have envy, but you don't want to fall into jealousy to where that you're hating on that person. But you feel like as a man, they don't want to lose that female because that was something they conquered in the beginning.
mhm. E. Bowers, I hope it's saying it correctly. Welcome to Authentic Talk. He said, "It's our nature to conquer." That's deep,
Yes,
and
that's who it is.
it
We
is.
were we were conditioned. Yes.
We're
Hmm.
conditioned to conquer, and
Hmm.
a healthy relationship or not is our to conquer. And if anyone right, this is it. If anyone disturb our kingdom, then that
Yes.
do whatever you have to do to protect his kingdom, even if it
Hmm.
is not morally right.
That's correct.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So if you deal
Yes.
if you're dealing with a person that a man that is not only jealous, but his constitutional mindset, if it's not morally sound, that's a bad combination. That's a bad relationship to be in. That's very dangerous. Am I about right? I think we're
Right.
cutting it.
Hmm.
Well, then let's go on here because we keep bypassing here. And for the remaining time that we have is how do we resist the temptation of being jealous? This can be
Oh,
from men
yes.
and women. How do
Hmm.
we resist the temptation of being jealous? Uh, Number one, you have to acknowledge the jealousy. You have to
Yes.
acknowledge the jealousy.
Hmm.
And somebody need to write this down. I hope you're taking notes. This intense emotion has dominance over your life. So you have to be mindful of that emotion. You have to be mindful of that
Hmm.
emotion because jealousy can nobody's exempt from being jealousy. It's
Right.
just do you allow yourself to be entertained by that? Think about the lion. They kill the other male lion uh,
Hmm.
take over that territory. You're so true, Pamela. So like
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh,
lion.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Lion King.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
So number one,
mhm.
acknowledge the jealousy. You have to
Your
acknowledge
action, acknowledge the, yeah.
and
Deal with that feeling. Yes.
this emotion has dominance over your life, and be mindful of the emotion. And what impact does it has on the following? You need to write this down. What impact does it have over your actions? What impact
Hmm.
over your decisions? What impact does it has the words that come out of your mouth? The way you speak can keep an
Yes.
individual.
Speak to people.
Listen
Yes.
carefully. The way you speak can keep an individual entertaining jealousy. The way you speak,
Mm.
because words produce thoughts, and thoughts affect what the emotions affect the feelings, and the feelings
Yes.
dictate to the behavior. So words are like arrows that lead you in the direction that you should go. So how you talk and keep entertaining the jealousy, okay? And then I like what it says here, your thoughts, and this is a key thing, your thoughts. Stop it when it is a thought before it manifests into an act.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again. Stop it when it is a
Yes.
thought
Hmm.
before it manifests through your actions. I hope somebody got that tonight.
Hmm.
Stop
So
it. Go ahead.
we have, yeah, we all have a opportunity and a chance when we get a thought to react to it, to
Mhm,
act on it. You know what I mean? It has to first be a thought before we move. Just like, if I'm sitting here and a thought will come to my mind, I'll say raise my hand, and then I'll have a choice to raise my hand or not. You know what I mean? So uh, 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 we the thoughts come, and then we have to entertain that thought. If we know it's a good thought, then we can go ahead with that. But if you entertain the negative thoughts, because the negative thoughts will come too. You know what I mean? The negative thoughts are, she don't love me. When she leaves to go with her friends, she's sneaking around. You know what I mean? Or whatever
mhm,
that negative thought is, you got to be able to take that thought into captivity, right?
mhm,
and
mhm,
then and then and then decide if it's a good thought or a bad thought, and then say, okay, at this point, I'm gonna stop it. I'm not
mhm,
gonna think on that. I'm gonna think about something else.
mhm,
There's
mhm,
a Bible scripture that says that things that are pure and things that are holy, things that are acceptable, think on these things. And so
mhm,
you have opportunity to either allow those thoughts to perplex your mind or
mhm.
not. You know what I mean?
hmm And I also think too, and I'm gonna throw it in here, but I want to go is also you have to have the will to change. Then you're willing to go into counseling. That is very important. And then you have to be open to express what's going on. Go through your timeline and see what needs of the Maslow hierarchy needs were not addressed. What stage are you stuck in? But I also want to add on to this. It also is then to find out, they might give you a diagnosis. It may what psychological defect that you may have, or mental
Mhm.
disorder. you may have, because that could be the underlining problem, or it can even of jealousy, or it can magnify jealousy. Because not one thing being jealous, then you have somebody that
Mhm.
have a mental issue that just magnified jealousy. So we have to
That
get to the
magnifies
so
it.
you have to get
Yes.
to the root of the thing, because like I said, jealousy will grow on the inside of you, and you keep watering that jealousy through your actions, through your thoughts, then it grows into a big tree and it consumes. And that and right and
Big tree.
uh, and
Right.
and the
Right.
fruit
And it'll produce fruit too.
through your actions, through your actions.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then
And then I like what you said. What are the triggers that invite jealousy?
yeah, yeah, talk to me about
Did we
that.
talk about that?
What are some of the triggers that invite jealousy
I,
in?
it could be the things that we listen to, the things
Uh,
that we watch.
uh,
Yeah. Did you
so
hear that?
yeah, I did. To listen to what entered into your eye gate, your ear gate, what you say. So those
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Hmm.
What are some of the triggers? And some of those triggers can be the byproduct of things that took place in your past, in your childhood, adolescence,
Yes.
uh, um,
Hmm.
teenage years, your young adult years. You have to go back and you have to go and point it out. I think Pamela is
Hmm.
particular on that timeline. You have to find out where that origin, that root of that problem have taken place, deal with it so that you know how to properly address it, and you have to move forward on that. So find out what your triggers, and then I like this: modify your soul. That's your mind, your will. We talk about it's your mind, will, intellect, your emotion, but modify that
Hmm.
soul. And how do you modify that soul? Is what you are. You have to put yourself in a new environment. You have to have people that you are held accountable to you, that is going to help you.
Yes.
That's why it's so
Yes.
important to have the right people in your life that you can be able to talk to, and they won't share your business with everybody, but you
Mm.
allow them into your mental space. You allow them to understand your soul so they can help. You can talk about, you can share things together. They give you advice. Sometimes they may just be listening, because it's always good to have somebody to listen to. And then there might be somebody just listening, but there might be another person that you're talking to. But you have
Hmm.
to have accountability apartment. You have to reprogram that mind. What are you listening to? Like you said, what are the triggers? What are causing that jealousy to take place? And you're going to have to find yourself in a different environment, an environment that is healthy for you, and that
Yes.
not
Hmm.
stimulating jealousy. It says the right people to tell you the truth
Tell
in
you the
love.
truth in
That's
love.
right, and that is so.
Yes.
I'm a stickler to
Those
that.
are those are definitely true friends, right?
Those are
They'll
true
tell
friends.
you the
Those,
truth. Yeah,
those
not tell you what you want to hear.
are.
Yeah.
And if you're
Hmm.
not, and men, if you're not in a relation, if you're not married to someone and you're dealing with jealousy, you got to be fair to yourself and to that person, that you might have to tell, look, I do care for you, but I have some jealousy issues that I need to work around. And if I could respect that, and look, we're going to have to stop this relationship right now, and I need to get the help that I need so that, so I can get myself together so I can be right. And it may not be you, the person for me, but right now I'm gonna get help. So you need to know when to end a relationship, because a lot of people think
Hmm.
I invested in time. A lot of people think I'm not gonna find someone else. The bottom line is, when you have yourself together, then that right person will come along. I think that's a key thing that
Yes.
we need to talk
Hmm.
about. You need to revamp your self-image, because what jealousy loves to harbor in someone that is insecure. You said what, low self-worth and
Low
so
self-esteem. Yep. Hmm.
to revamp your self-worth. And how you said, sure, how do you do that? You do that with words. Am I right, Albert? With what words are you saying to yourself?
Yes, we're worse.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yes.
And you need to, I talk about, you need to address past experience that causes you to have unreal, and this is what I like, address a past
That's
experience,
good.
address
That's
past
good.
that cause you to have unrealistic expectations in a relationship. I'm gonna say that one more time. Address past experiences that cause you to have unrealistic expectations in a relationship. And that's
Mm.
so important. And I think it is just some and I like this.
That's good. That's
Focus on
good.
and here's another one. Focus when it comes to men and women, focus on what you were called to do in life, and stop being so consumed with other people are doing.
Find your purpose.
Find your
Find your purpose.
find your purpose.
Mm.
And that
Hmm.
that is so important when it comes to resisting jealousy. You have to have a desire, and somebody type that in. You have to have a desire to resist jealousy, because jealousy can lead you down a road that'll make you make a decision that will eventually become your reality for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And that is so
Right.
true, you know,
Hmm.
because now a lot of men, men and even women have killed their spouse because of jealousy. Now they're incarcerated, and now that has become their reality. And one thing about
Yes.
it, jealousy has no. Oh, that's good. Somebody write this down. Jealousy have no limits.
No limits.
Is
Mm-mm.
that right, Albert?
Mm-mm.
Jealousy,
Hmm. None. No limits. Yeah.
however, oh, we're over.
Because a lot of times when they jealous, they don't care who they could be jealous of the dog that you got. You know what I mean? If the dog's getting more time than them,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Or they feel like the dog is getting more attention, they'll
Hmm.
be jealous of that. So it has no. You're right. It has no limit.
You have to
Hmm.
know you have to know who you are. That's the bottom line. But Albert, a couple things I want you to tell me about. Kyle's. Tell me about his gym. Tell me the address, the location. I was in
Hmm.
California, and I had an opportunity to be trained by him. And I tell you, it was just excellent. The training that I received
Hmm.
afterwards, I felt
Kyle,
everything
come here.
I felt everything on my
Yes.
body was worked upon. But
Um,
eventually I want to have him a guest on the show. Is he
mhm.
there? We could do it real quick if
Yeah,
he's
he's here. She just wants you to tell about your gym,
oh
tell about your
that's
what
country.
you do.
That's country.
You know,
That's
yeah.
okay. You tell me, Albert. You tell me real quick,
Hey,
Albert.
look. Listen to your daddy. Get over here.
Tell me, I know. Tell me the name of the gym and the location. Go ahead.
Okay, so he does personal training.
Hmm.
Uh, is his gym is located on what street? What street is your gym located on? Oh, there he
3101
is.
North Select. Hi, Cheryl.
3101 North Select. And it's a great
Oh,
facility. Me and my wife go over there. I go at 4 a.m. He has classes throughout the day, and so
oh,
he'll help you with your weight goals. He'll also help you with your nutrition goals, and he makes it fun. All his clients they enjoy. Like you said, Cheryl, you were sore when you left, but you came back and you enjoyed your time in the gym. So definitely, it's a blessing
all right. I see the
that we
internet.
have that, because it helps us stay in shape.
Yes, it does. It does. Well, I hope this our signal is kind of ending. I think it's the weather here too, but I hope this helped everyone. Pamela and I will add more on when she returned. So keep in mind that we will not be in on next week and or the following week. I believe also not sure, but we will let you know. But Albert, do you want to pray for the men's briefly, and then we can end on that note?
Okay, yeah, I can definitely pray for the men. Uh,
Mhm.
Father God, we just thank you for a time and opportunity to just share good information with people that will be able to help them reach their goals, to find their purpose in you, Lord. We just pray for men who have allowed jealousy to sink in, and it's festering in, and the jealousy has turned to anger. We just want to lift them up. We want to pray, Father, that they would get the help, that they would get to the places that they need to be free from jealousy. We know that jealousy is a spirit, Lord, but you tell us where you are, there is peace and there's liberty. So we pray, Father, for peace and liberty for my brothers, and even the women who are having challenges with jealousy. We also hold them up, Lord, and we just pray, Father, that when Cheryl and Pamela come back on the show in a couple of weeks, Lord, that you would send the right people, oh Lord, that will hear the messages that they're sharing and get the information, because we know that all this information is for us to grow, not just as individuals, but to grow as family, to grow in our relationships. And Father, we just thank you, Lord. And we just want to give you all the praise and all the glory in Jesus' name. Amen and amen.
And amen. So I hope everyone continue to have a enjoyable 4th of July. Elbert, once again, I thank you so much for
Thank you.
Pamela. We know that all is well with you. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. I'll be over there tomorrow to bring you your food. Okay? And
bring me my food.
we ask you to thank everyone follow like, share, please share with someone this information because it's so important. Somebody sharing right now, and we just want to thank you for all those who participate, listening, and those who follow up, and everybody. Make sure you have a beautiful evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.